Good evening, everyone. Welcome to you all. Our evening class on Buddhist philosophy, as Jamyangla mentioned, is continuation of study of a very important 2nd century Buddhist scholar called Nagarjuna. He's writing, so we go to that. But first we do short prayers. So this is the folder you have. The folder has some prayers, so we'll turn to page 9, where we will do the prayers before the meditation teaching, which consists of refuge and prayers. So we'll do bilingually as they indicated. So join your hands at the heart and say the words, particularly when you do the English, try to say whatever, reflect the meaning that you know it is. Try to honor and respect and bring to your attention to the meaning of the words, and try to illuminate and refresh and renew your refuge, renew your confidence and affirmation in these teachings, and renew your commitment to practice loving kindness in any situations. Very beautiful. If you have loving kindness, best remedy for all problems. And particularly if you have commitment to practice compassion when it's really, really hard and painful, and no matter how difficult it is, compassion. It's good to remember compassion, good to renew our compassion. So that's why we say these 3 times before every practice, just so that we can remember and stay in our hearts. And also remember to renew your joy in the things that you really have. Amazing reason to be happy and thankful. They are not big, they not have to be special things the rest of the world runs after, but it's within your life there's a lot of wonderful small things that we're very joyful. The trees, the clean waters, fresh airs, wonderful law and order, amazing social care, amazing sort of system of governance by the society, a lot of volunteer community workers. When you look at our society, it's the best, some of the best countries among hundreds of countries. We are so honored and fortunate to live in this. So try to rejoice, try to renew your joy. Don't let some difficulties snow you. Joyfulness. And then feel commitment to practice equanimity. Sometimes we take too much side against something or for something. So we get drawn, we got swallowed by this way to that way. We should find a middle ground to not become too attached even to some things that doesn't help us. And of course, there's no reason to be angry and aversive to anything, really. Sometimes we think there's a wonderful many reasons to be. Even that, we just don't want to go there. So renew your commitment to practice equanimity. Equanimity may be between taking sides, say within the sibling or family situation, conflicts. You just take sides and we just make it worse. Just be the balancer. Pray that you be the balancer. Pray that you yourself don't collapse, because they won't have anyone to rely on. They're already falling. So renew commitment to practice true equanimity that holds the balance and not let things go a bit haywire like a pendulum. Through your tolerance, when it's difficult to practice tolerance. Through your generosity, through your forgiveness. These are the things that brings equanimity. Equanimity is not passivity and doing nothing. It's not indifference. It's actively doing what is really difficult to do and helping that to balance this volatility. Give up some things. So these prayers are a reminder for us to do that. So let's not read just quickly, but actually say them and then remember them to stay present in our mind. So we do that prayer, first page number 9. And then after that we go to page 1, which is special invocation of Bodhisattva Manjushri. So let's join your hands and I do this prayer. Dage jenye jeba de dage dola benje sanje dobara jo sanje jodan zoje jona la janje bado dane jazunje dage jenye jeba de dage Dala benje zanje dobarajo. In Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment me reach. By the merit of listening to these teachings, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all living beings. Semje damje dewa dainde judainde ambara juje dunga ye judainde wara juje dunga mebe dewa dame dawa juje Nyere jada nyeda ndewe tanya la nebara joje. May all living beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all living beings be free from sorrow and the cause of sorrow. May all living beings not be separated from the bliss that is sorrowless. May all living beings live attachment and hatred towards near ones and far by living with equanimity. May all living beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May all living beings be free from sorrow and the cause of sorrow. May all living beings not be separated from the bliss that is sorrowless. May all living beings live attachment and hatred towards near ones far by living with equanimity. So now we turn to page 1, which is praise to Manjushri. This is the Bodhisattva of wisdom. We're calling the intelligent person that is potentially in us by calling the exemplary master called Manjushri. And so this is praise to his qualities. I pay homage to Guru and Lord Arya Manjushri. Your intelligence shines like the sun, unclouded by the two obscurations. You hold the scripture text in your heart, symbolic of the seeing of all things as they are. Those who are caught in the prison of samsara are confused in the darkness of ignorance and are overwhelmed by their sufferings. In 60 ways, with your speech, you teach migratory beings to whom you are compassionate as the only child. Your proclamation of Dharma is like a roaring thunder, which awakens beings from the stupor of delusions and frees us from the iron chains of our karma. You wear the sword of wisdom, hewing down suffering wherever its sprouts appear, clearing away the darkness of ignorance. Primordially pure, your princely body is the embodiment of perfection of Bodhisattva, dwelling on the 10th bhumi. I pay homage to Manjushri, who dispelled my ignorance, whose body is adorned with the 112 marks of a Buddha. With the brilliance of your wisdom, O compassionate one, illuminate darkness enclosing my mind, enlighten my intelligence wisdom, so that I may gain insight into the Buddha's words and texts that explain them. Omara bhajana de 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 omara bhajana. Omara bhajana de 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 omara bhajana. Amara bhajana de amara bhajana de amara bhajana de amara bhajana de amara bhajana. Omara bhajana. Now we do the Heart Sutra. Turn to next two pages down, page number 5. This is a very sacred Buddhist text. Heart Sutra means sutra is a discourse given by the Buddha. This is not the first discourse given by the Buddha, but later, a little bit later, to advanced disciples. So many Buddhist meetings, they always chant this first. Usually Zen chant in Japanese, it's Sanskrit, and some people chant in Chinese, a bit depending language. So we have the choice of chanting in English or in Sanskrit. But I think we'll read in English. Maybe sometime we might do Sanskrit, okay? So, but tonight we'll read that in English. Just to read that is blessing. Don't try to understand everything if you don't. Just read it and help you. Just have the ears and mind to get exposed to this. To the perfection of wisdom, blessed Mother, I pay homage. Thus I have heard at one time, the Blessed One Bhagavan was dwelling in Rajgriha on Virtue's Peak, together with a great assembly Sangha and great assembly Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in samadhi on the enumeration of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, was contemplating the meaning of the profound perfection of wisdom. He saw that the five aggregates are also empty of inherent existence. Through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara. How should a son or daughter of a good lineage train who wishes to practice profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, said this to Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good lineage wishes to practice profound perfection of wisdom should view in this way. They should correctly view those five aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. And is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, the feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. The Shariputra, in the same way, all phenomena are merely empty. That is without characteristic. They are not created, they do not cease, they have no impurity, they are not devoid of impurities, they do not decrease and increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there's no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no phenomena. There is no I element or so forth up to mind element. Also up to element of mental consciousness. There's no ignorance, no exhaustion of ignorance, so forth, up to no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. In the same way, there's no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no power, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they depend on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Because their minds are without obstructions, they are without fear, having completely passed beyond all error, they go to the completion of nirvana. All the Buddhas who abide in the three times, having relied on the perfection of wisdom, became manifestly perfect Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect and complete Buddha enlightenment. Therefore, mantra of perfection of wisdom is mantra of great knowledge. Unsurpassed mantra equal to the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all sufferings. Because it's not false, it should be known as truth. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tadyadam gade bara zang gade bodhisattva. 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 Tadyada ngade bara zan ngade bodhizo. 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 Shariputra, Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom that way. Then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi, said this Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, well done, well done, well done. One of good lineage is just so. One of good lineage is like that. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught it. Even the Tathagatas will rejoice in this. The Blessed One, having so spoken, Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, all those gathered there and those who were gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas were filled with admiration and praised the words of Blessed One. So this work called Precious Garland by Nagarjuna was a text that he sent to his friend King Gautamiputra in 2nd century AD. This is a very old text. Just imagine, this is now 2017. Written into 2nd century AD. And this text has enjoyed wide circulation, not only in India, but also in Tibet, also in Japan and China. Lots of Mahayana Buddhist countries translated these texts from Sanskrit into their relevant languages. Also, this text is found also in Turkish. A lot of, because these were mainly useful for lots of people. And so we are fortunate to go through this. We have started off with last term, and we're continuing with this term. This book has 5 chapters, and therefore 500 verses. so 100 verse for each chapter. And this second chapter we're going through is called Interwoven. Chapter is interwoven. Topic is varies from worldly matters to spiritual matters. And this last section of this chapter, which we are going to read tonight, constitute all the 32 major marks of the Buddha. So that's why we have given you the handout there. So it will be handy for you to read, put next to you as I go through these verses, because these 176th verse all the way to 96, the 20 verses are totally dedicated describing these, not only what the 32 major marks of Buddhas are, but what doing by doing what kind of deeds that you actually attain these exquisite qualities. We were reading at the very beginning 10 times 10 or something. Is it 10?
10 times 10.
10 and 12, yeah. So that's 112. When they say 10 times 10 and 12, they're talking about 32 plus 80. The 32 are major marks, 80 are minor marks. Mark meaning distinctive physical attributes of the Buddha. Buddha was enlightened not just by what he spoke, but you just have to look your eyes once on him, that's it. You would have got him. Or he would have got you. It's called liberation through sighting. Darshan, they call it in Sanskrit. In Tibetan, we call it tongdol. But just by seeing the Buddha, people become liberated. Just the blessed embodiment of that whole his body represent. Of course, not many people are born with those 112 marks. It says that each of us has one. Each of us only one. I don't know what that it is, yours. But these are just to say that our life is precious. To say that our life is precious, but not every human beings have that many qualities. But Buddha had these 112 marks of Buddha. Some people argue these are the qualities only with the Bodhisattva of Nirmanakaya. Nirmanakaya means the emanation body, who has actually manifested deliberately as a Buddha in the world, has these marks. So that's why I call excellent Nirmanakaya. Excellent Nirmanakaya means one whose Nirmanakaya, meaning Nirmana means emanation, Kaya means body, whose emanation body is comprised of the excellent physical attributes. This is just physical attributes. We're not talking mental attributes. We're not talking verbal attributes. We're not talking qualities. We're not talking activities. We're talking about just merely seeing the Buddha. He has these 32 qualities. So this Nagarjuna's writing do not list the 80 minor marks, but he lists the 32 major marks, and then he says, I will not list the 80 minor marks because basically the minor marks are very much included by the 32 major marks. Many of these are direct deeds that one performed in the past, that one's body has blessed physical qualities. Even us as ordinary person, when your certain part of body is good looking or good color or good height or good form, we also draw a lot of happiness from our body, isn't it? And so on. And one whose body is born with deformities, one whose body is born with deafness and mute, and a lot of physical disabilities, it's a cause of great sadness. I know someone whose only child is autistic, and she just couldn't believe why she has to have this autistic child. And how the child will grow up as bigger with a lot of other physical problems, we don't know, and that can't even say a word, But when we look at those who are, majority of people are born with able body, so when people have a body, they usually become cause of their fitness and ability to do things for others and themselves, cause of attributes of happiness. The Buddha is not just, even just by looking at by others to his form, it brings them incessant joy, and quite a lot of them liberation just by sight. And so that's what we are talking tonight. Just to talk about these 32, let alone recognize what they are, is good merit, because without informal Buddhist teaching, these things are not discussed, You hear about it, briefly mentioned, 32 marks or something, but here Nagarjuna's beautiful text is called Beautiful Precious Garland. Garland is something to wear. And one who don on the precious garland, it beautifies the person who wears the garland. If you remember these 32 not only marks, not just listing them 32, but just few facets of them, what they represent, will beautify your mind. I need to practice this. I need to try to practice this. Only a small steps, though it might be. This is emulating the steps of the Buddha, you know. So and so on. So it's not necessarily every physical attributes are attributes are understood by people as the marks of beauty, because some people might find it a bit odd to have a webbed finger, for instance. But here the symbolism is more important than the look of it. Yeah. So, O great king, he says, O great king, listen how your body will be adorned with 32 signs of a great being. So now here, Nagarjuna is addressing to the king Gautamiputra to practice the causes of the 32 marks that you will have. Because right now the king is not born with any of these attributes, yeah? So say, oh king, if you see fit to judicate your right effort and power and position and knowledge and resources right way, you could create directly causes of being born with these qualities. Because Nagarjuna is saying this, that all the qualities Buddha has, these things, were result of good deeds, meritorious deeds performed in the past. We do have the same potential. So he's talking basically addressing to us. Oh, great king means oh yourself. He's saying, oh, hey Aussies, hey Aussie people. Aussie people in 2017, I never knew you were going to read this. So listen now, your body right now is an ordinary body, but if you practice the wholesome ways of the Dharma, you could be born with these 32 excellent marks, that what we call, these 32 major marks we call Tsen Sangpo Sumju Zoni, meaning the 32 beautiful signs, symbols. So here 32 signs of a great being. And a great being, sign of a great being. Quite a few beings are born with quite a few of these characteristics. Whether it's in the crown or the eyes or just just whatever they are. There's quite a few people are born with those things. In Tibetan Buddhism, when child who's born, they usually look at the physical features of the body. And quite a few of the great masters, when they became great, they were actually indicated through quite a few of the physical marks, whether they are distinctively these marks or not, but at least something that they could inferentially establish by looking at them. So here King says, listen, because what I'm going to tell you are the actual causes. If you know the causes, you probably can yield the result, so long as you actually create the causes. Through proper honoring the stupas. So through properly honoring the stupas. So honoring the stupa means stupas of the Buddha's body, Buddha's remains, relics, or great arhats, great bodhisattvas. Do you see everywhere in the whole Buddhist world, dotted with the stupas. And people come from many far distances to pay respect to that. Because the stupas are not only contain symbols of the Buddha mind and also remains, but also have been consecrated properly and have been put there as a visual reminder of the Dharma that people so easily forget. So the visual reminder, holy images, holy objects like stupas, as those who honor them, those who honor the stupas by remembering the Buddha's qualities, as well as honorable beings, also not just honoring stupas built in rocks and bricks, but actually honoring beings, superior, elderly, parents. This is talking about those who show respect to their parents and stupas and people who they have reason to pay respect to be kindly guided, helped by superiors, meaning your senior, your teachers, your mentors, your father and mother, your uncle, your aunt, anyone who's elder than you in your life by age or by knowledge or by experience, yeah? If you show them respect, so this is physical respect, physically showing them whichever way is courteous. Your glorious hands and feet will be marked with designs of the wheels. So this is the first one. the first of the 32 signs, that on the palms of his hands, on the soles of feet, are the designs of thousand-spoke wheel that protrudes as if stamped from a mold. So the palms of Buddha is a thousand-spoke wheel of Dharma. I mean, our palms are also quite interesting to read, but not quite thousand-spoke. If you find three-spoke, would be very impressive. But thousand-spoke wheel of Dharma, Buddha's hand. So lots of people go to Bodh Gaya and print the footprint of the Buddha or handprint, because they know it's that. Yeah. So just a reminder. What it really is, this is just engraving by your good karma. So paying respect is so good. Now, what does this say is, we, instead of paying respect, we do opposite. We do disrespectful things. We just look at them with a nasty look and show them with bad gesture. This is where the suffering comes from. So therefore, what we have got to learn, oh great king, listen, meaning listen. Don't ever do this. Don't ever do the causes that will harm you. But instead, respect your elderly. Those are by knowledge, experience, kindness, and the qualities, as well as others, showing respect to anybody. So prostration, that's why we do prostration in Buddhism. We do prostration not as a normal exercise only for. We do it any kind of mode of bow down, whether full-length prostration or half-length prostration or any bow down you do. It's just when we do this, then we remember I should just as well bow down and respect my parents and speak to them kindly, look to them kindly and respectfully, carefully and thoroughly. See, this is so that's really very important. The first one is the beautiful hands, Buddha's palms, comes from that. O king, always maintain firmly what you have vowed about the practices. So meaning to make a promise and then try to maintain the promises, you will then become a bodhisattva with feet that are very level. So that's the second one. Soles of the feet are even and well set, like the belly of a tortoise. So Buddha's feet, our feet is not level. Did you notice when you put the feet print, it just got funny like this, It's not even and not straight either. Buddha's foot is completely, everything is just almost like flat, very flat and even. So, of course, that's just a symbol. But what we really have to do is not to get that kind of feet necessarily, but but you wouldn't mind, will you? First we have to create the causes, then we can order the feet. There's some feature reading, in Chinese feature reading, they're very accurate. They look at people's feet, they will look at people's nose. Oh, you'll be separated from the loved ones very early. Oh, this, they can tell from the face reading, And of course, those are feature reads. For certain cultures got feature reading, There's a lot of them in Chinese, feature reading is very, very, very strong. Anyway, so here is more what you do, So that means people who make a vow. They don't have to be spiritual vow. It could be small promises you make to yourself, that I will not raise voice, I will not do this, I will not do that. And if you keep these promises, then that is the good karma you are creating to earn the happiness. Of course, if you did that, you will be happy. You will be leveled. You will be leveled, basically. Your mind is at peace. There's not many sort of upheavals because it's all level, Unleveled is many upheavals. So meaning that if you are able to keep up your little promises, and even if they do a little bit shake, sometimes quickly mend them. Don't say, oh, I broke them, and then you're angry at it, and you'll be guilty, and then the thing is you have no chance. That's not like, quickly go and amend it. Renew your bodhicitta, renew your refuge. Don't wait for occasion or gathering. Do it yourself in front of your own mind and Buddha mind. They will bear with you. They'll be there for you to witness your good heart. And so what does really this mean is we too should make little promises and try to maintain them. If you did that, that is the cause. This is the cause of happiness. Whether you get a feat like that or not, it will make you happy. People who haven't made a promise or haven't kept the promise are unhappy. They're really angry because they're not happy. They didn't do this, they didn't do this. Therefore, they have reason to be guilty and anxious and unproud of themselves. Because they failed themselves too many times and never trying again properly to amend oneself. So this is more like try to get a good balanced way of doing things in life that actually you're able to keep up with your own promises. Then you are not disappointed with you. It's good, You're not disappointed with you, so that means you will have a leveled mind. Because we're often disappointed by ourselves. We think other people disappoint us. It's not really. Even if somebody is angry, if we have made promise to practice tolerance, and we practice tolerance, that's more important, isn't it? How can you stop people being angry? If you stop him being angry, you go somewhere else, you meet another angry. But if we keep the promise to practice tolerance, that's more important. Because that is the vow we make. We make promise to practice bodhicitta. That is to practice tolerance, no matter who, what extreme situation. If you keep that, then that is become cause of happiness. In spite of this agitation, this insult, I still remember my vow to practice tolerance and forgiveness. That is what makes you to bring this amazing, beautiful sign of a practitioner. Even if you have a little sort of very teary moment and not quite doing very well in the evening, you in the meditation, you mend it up and it's all okay. That's the kind of promise, meaning you repair. You amend every day before you go to bed and review the day, and then you amend them. You do little prayers, short meditations, and don't ever go to bed with angry mind, unresolved conflict in your mind. That's not practice. You promise that. That's your promise. That's why you do short prayers before you go to bed. It's not some kind of Buddhist Jew you're paying. They say, oh yeah, she did her prayer, I'll tick her box. And we don't have such policing business. Nobody minds what you do, but you mostly what you do, that you keep up yourself, that you are in a good terms with yourself. That no matter what happened there or then or whatever, just go to bed kindly to yourself and to the other, and promise not to take that situation into the day, or promise not to talk about it, or turn to raise about it again. Just have some dignity. Just you're about it. You have feet to stand on. And that is really the feet that you're talking about. Buddha's feet leaves a very beautiful, complete print that is so visible. Leave a good imprint on your mind by the vow you make. By the vow you make. Then you will bless with this second sign, second excellent sign. O King. So that's that through giving. That's first one was paying homage, paying respect. Second one was keeping vows. Third is by giving. Through giving, so this generosity. Any generosity you do, whether it's time or things or ideas or emotional support or whoever you're giving your time, don't give them willingly. Don't give and think they took them, the people give, and then they say they took. Of course they'll take what you gave. But you didn't give willingly. That's the problem. So just give them willingly through complete giving and speaking pleasantly, speaking kindly, speaking and useful behavior. You deliberately try to do something to inspire others, to soothe others, to not to irritate others. You try to open the door or bring the thing for them or pick up the broken piece or whatever it is. Your behavior was, you did it so willingly, so kindly. Your purposeful behavior that you displayed before others, yeah, and concordant behavior means you're doing something that they like on their terms. Do it in their terms. Get rid of the ego. Just do it on their terms. What is the unwillingness? Lack of bodhicitta. That's the only thing. If it's meant to make them happy, just do that. It says, may all beings have happiness a cause. Your cause of happiness, you just have to agree to them for the sake of that. If you can do that, you will have hands with glorious fingers joined with webs of light. Buddha's fingers are webbed, so are the toes. And it's not actual webs like the kind of ducks, It's light. Means that whatever you give to Buddha, it never falls down. Everything Buddha gives is meaningful. He will give you something, it will not be wasted. It will give you something that will retain. So that's why your generosity, your kind words, your behavior that you try to do it to soothe others and ripen others, yeah, that you do it for their terms, yeah. But you wouldn't have done it yourself. But you went all the way to Black Mountain, or you went all the way to the Botanical Gardens for them, and really happily. Still, you do not show any sort of sign of resentment and weariness, and delightfully doing that. That is really being able to practice, doing something for the sake of others. So this is talking about doing things for others, but without resentment. And still saying it's a pleasure. Somebody, thank you, say pleasure. See, pleasant words. If somebody thanks you and you say, okay, forget about it, type of thing, then they thank you, but you just say, oh, look, this will be almost the last one, I'll do that. So, that sort of thing would. So these four we went through are four persuasions, four persuasive practices. For persuasion, it means how you can use this persuasion to ripen others. Other people will in the long term be completely tamed and subdued and befriended by these things. If you are not getting along with others, do these four. First, practice generosity. Second, speak kindly to them, about them, in your head also. If you're not speaking kindly and thinking kindly in your head, that's the problem. So that's the problem. So you have to first do something that is generous. Secondly, you need to sort of speak kindly in your mind and to others. Not necessarily you have to speak to others. Main thing is you got to converse in your head kindly, kind words, and then purposeful behavior. Do something that will change you, that will shift you, that will beautify you as well as them. They will see that you are going out of your own way to do that, and when they see that quite a few times, it will soften them. It will not feel them aggressed or threatened, because our behavior wasn't anything like that. It was completely opposite. If the behavior is avoiding and so on, then already there's a sign of it. So try to do something to tame yourself and others, and if you did that, then these four behaviors, four persuasive behaviors, if you did that, it's rather like keeping the promise. If you did that, then you will retain good that you receive in your hand. Kindness of somebody else, you will not forget. They will not drop off from your fingers. They will be held by like a webbed finger. You'll be retainer of good. People aren't able to remember the good. They're only remembering the bad. So you remember the good. If you have these four persuasive practices, then you will, when you become enlightened, you will be born with these signs of an excellent being it's a sign of him or her having completed their bodhisattva's way of life in their past incarnation. So that's that. That's first three signs. Through abundant giving of the best food and drink. Now this is about giving again, giving, best food and giving food and drink to people. Your glorious hands and feet will be soft. Your hands, feet, shoulder blades, and nape of your neck will be broadened, so your body will be large, and those 7 areas broad. So this is talking about beautiful physique, beautiful body, and here talking about that his arms, legs are smooth and firm, and the 7 parts of body. This talking about are rounded, like the wrist of the 2 hands, ankles of the 2 feet, 4, 2 shoulders, and the neck. These are the 7. All these 7 parts of the body will be well rounded, and rounded in terms of well built, very curvy, where it needs to be curvy. I don't know what exact proportions are, but it's the curves is recommended, and without any indentation. So this is talking about the well-built body, physical body, and these are through. This comes through giving very careful in serving food and drink to others. Not only giving, but serving them kindly, of best food, and try to present them well, try to delight them by the presentation or taste and qualities and health, whatever it is. So a lot of happiness comes when people have a good meal. And particularly if they're served graciously, isn't it? If served graciously, amazing how mothers take a lot of liberty to feed the kids, and her own dinner, she never knows whether she'll get a warm one or not. It takes so much time to put the child on the high chair, lay things on the floor, make sure the chair doesn't slip, all this right gear they buy, they buy, and all these things. Oh, amazing, how much care the mother gives for the baby to feed, So the cutleries are not sharp but still useful, and then they don't. They may spill food, but don't wet the clothes. They have these things have to go like this. Wow, you can see that we are all recipient of such kindness. The mother just breastfeed her, herself have to go like this, all this. But still, her arms are very, very painful to hold this heavy baby continuously, how this side is now barren, Tibetan women, they have to wear this, have to take this, and it's very cold, no air conditioning, no warm, but still, let themselves be exposed to cold weather to feed the baby, So much care and tender love we have received. Definitely we have received. So we can give that. We have to remember that we have been recipient of kindness from others, and then we also try to not only do things but serve nicely and kindly. And it's very, very beautiful cultures where they have that. Oh, help yourself, it's all over there type of thing. It's okay, people will slowly help themselves. Still, it's really nice to be helping around and where the things are. And most people are not very new; they don't know where it is. And some people are very shy culture, very shy culture when they go to place. If they get used to it, they don't mind. But helping yourself is quite a healthy thing, But still, there's much better when it's served to you. They saw silver service or something. They call silver service for nothing? No, it is silvery, definitely. It is standard of getting these beautiful signs of the Buddha. Silver service, serving nicely, even at home. Kindly, and it's the way it's served. It's not so much what the thing is. the way it served with lots of love and tender care and compassion is really beautiful. These are the, in the past, Buddha was not a Buddha always, Buddha was a mother. Buddha was all kinds of things, Do many, many mother yogas, many, many good mother yogas. Then eventually he got enlightened with all these beautiful attributes, So whatever task that we have at our hand, we should be mindful how I'm going to do this. I'm going to serve this food. I'm going to make this drink in a beautiful cup, very nicely arranged. Whatever it is, you try to do it in a very, very careful and thoughtful way. And these are very direct causes of having to be born with this 7 beautiful, well-rounded body, body. And of course, that's just ultimate physical signs of it. But basically, if you did that, you'd be very happy, Your happiness comes from courtesy, respect. Courteous way of doing things was much better than the thing they gave. What they gave is not so important. That how they gave, with a lot of kindness, a lot of humility, a lot of joy in the person doing that, is so important. These are merit. We call accumulation merit. Just being mindful to do things, these are not religious things. These are just how we serve each other, how we talk to each other, how we listen to each other. So that verse 180 is a abundant meaning of the 7 points, 7, but still only the 5th one. And then through never doing harm and freeing the condemned. Now this is very important. Not harming the condemned, because majority of people condemn the condemned, But one who has bodhicitta mind does not condemn even the condemned, and even try to help the condemned, freeing the condemned. Your body will be beautiful, straight and large, very tall with long fingers, broad backs of the heels. So that's talking about those two. His fingers and toes are long. These 4. The ball and the heel of each foot are prominent and broad. So this is talking about the actual physics of the body. But here, this main thing is really, if people are condemning somebody, you don't go and condemn on top of other people. You try to give some hope in his mind that someone is there who will help you. Whatever karma he did is already bad enough, doesn't need anybody to make it worse. Others are condemning or punishing, that's fine, but you try to give him or her some solace, some kind of hope. Prison visitation is good, therefore, this kind of humane work, being able to do that. Don't sort of throw stones at someone who has been condemned and been punished and so on, whether by fact or fiction, that's already happening. Now, how can you help to ease that suffering, ease the condemnation, ease the accusation, ease the punishment by your thing? So if you try to do that, this kind of, visiting the prisoners is very good karma, That's why prison visits are very good. Visiting some people who are really difficult, like some people volunteer to work in the war-torn places. They deliberately go there. They're escaping the enemy. They're running, and on this end they are blocked. They're not allowed to come by these people barricading them. And then all the NGO people go and work and put tents and make space for them to live. It's beautiful, isn't it? This is like all these NGOs who do the work in the humanitarian work, isn't it? In war-torn and natural disaster places. They're beaten by nature and the warring parties either side. And if there isn't a third alternative who understand them, they have no one to go to. This is a real relief. This is real refuge. Giving practical solace and hope in the otherwise hopeless world. So practicing like that is a good karma. Is very good karma. is to condemn the condemned. It's very easy. Stupid can do that too, So one who has the wisdom and compassion say, I must be like that, to be condemned and punished and looked down by everybody. I must, I'm not saying anything who is right and is wrong, but nevertheless, kindness matters. Yeah, this is very important. See, all the beautiful facets of Buddha's body that people look and even the statues they feel inspired, it doesn't come from not just from artistic presentation of the statue. These have got the moral karma that merits the devotion. And so that's why people have the cultivated culture to show devotion to that. But it's even better next time when we see the statue, I have to do this and this, just no point just bowing down to the statues. The real statue is teaching me to do those. This I must remember, So the statues are a visual reminder, but only if we remember, what's the characteristics of the beautiful body of the Buddha? He did achieve this body by not throwing stone at the condemned, but actually giving them some solace and hope. That's what the Bodhisattvas do. Bodhisattvas do with majority refuse to do. Bodhisattvas have to break all the code of otherwise, just to risk not risk, but to never mind the dualities, but actually someone has to be kind. Everybody are busy being right and wrong and punishing the wrong and then wrong again and even. So there's not any right left because everybody is doing punishing the wrong. So which is not additional wrong. But one who is kind and wise definitely matters. Give him or her a break from the karma of their own wrongdoing. On top of that, we don't need anyone to stoning them. So that kind of, I suppose, a mind is really we need to see. Next time we see the Buddha image why people bow down, sure, culturally we still bow down, but deep down we bow down to the image even with more understanding. May I too know what exact causes, moral causes and karma I need to create consciously in everyday life. When somebody did some mistakes wrong, everybody's shouting at him. You instead not try to disagree with the rest of the group, but still out of compassion for the sufferer, for the victim. How can I assist them to be helped? A lot of people, amazing. They have no other motivation, but only motivation is compassion, for they are so badly condemned, so badly stigmatized, that someone needs to understand that this kind of people who are misunderstood and punished and punished and punished. How could I not? We're not taking political sides, but we are just out of kindness. We don't do that. So that is so important as a standing, as a stature, as emotional stature. That one need not to do that, as there's already enough suffering. Doesn't need to make worse. But if anything can be changed, it's the compassion, which is passion to remove and eliminate, reduce the suffering, not the passion to escalate the suffering or punishment. Try to de-escalate duration and the length of the suffering. How can I reduce it? That is what it's really talking about here. What result is the beautiful body, but what is the cause? Because body means composites made out of many things composed together. These merits are the composites. These merits are the things that actually makes these composites, this form of the Buddha, so culturally revered, came from the merit of the Buddhahood. Before the Buddha, they was not making statues. When they realize it's the enlightened one, or for that matter, anybody, So that is very important one, about not harming the one who people harm. freeing him or her from the harm other people are inflicting. This will give you a beautiful body. And not that you do, that's not your intention anyway. The intention to allay their suffering, reduce the duration and the nature of the suffering by giving some moral support, talking to them that they are helpers. And so that's why not only just prisoner visiting prison, but also in palliative care, and visiting the people in the hospital who have no relatives or whatever. Even those who have, they really appreciate someone who really do a kind, compassionate volunteer work to do that with the right state of mind, I suppose, being able to do that. Through spreading the vowed practices, you will have glory, a good color, your ankles will not be prominent, your body hairs will stand upwards. So this is talking about hairs on the body grown upwards. No protrusion are visible on the ankles. Buddha's ankles are not like ours, well rounded. So those two are covered by this. This is talking about that the spreading means whatever you have practiced and vowed to practice, you try to promote that. You try to enhance that. Spreading means that you try to, if you're doing once a week, do it more than once a week. If you do this kind of whatever you're trying to do, maybe good discipline, good practice, you try to increase the quality or duration or the intention. Whatever you're doing, don't do it just kind of as a chore. Just try to do it with better intent, with more holistic motivation, with a longer duration or more better qualities than you previously doing. Because quite a lot of time we do things periodically as an obligatory things to the extent of losing the actual spirit of not wanting to do it, You do it, but not, the spirit is losing, So it means, but through spreading the vowed practices. Spreading means you try to extend it and develop it, take it to another next level. Next level. This is, of course, it's not just about how beautiful ankle it is we're talking about, but it also inspires other people. It also gives other people hope that they can emulate that if they see that kind of degree of commitment. There not only the commitment, the quality of commitment, not only the quality, but also the contents of it. The content, actually, yes, you did do something there in that position that was really good. What did you bring that is actually worthy of remembering, that actually made a landmark or distinctive mark in that actually helped the situation because what we did. So not just say I occupy that position or occupy that thing or whatever, but try to do something really meaningfully beneficial. If you try to do that, it straight away boosts our morale and motivation to do. So it try to sort of try to envision what next level can I take this commitment. Like say at your work, you're a little flat, you're plateaued, your interest, you feel like a little bit almost like you don't want to do anymore, but you have to do type of thing. That time, try to bring some renewed motivation or purpose and skill. And maybe you need a bit of upgrade in your knowledge and experience, such as this through these teachings. Try to bring some additional purpose and high enlightened purpose. Even when you're having some difficult time, but try to make the difficult meaningful. Don't try to run away from the difficult. You have to face these difficulties anyway. So how can I make this difficulty useful? Not so that you do not have to face this difficulty again, but when this kind of difficulty repeat next time, how I can sort of find a more viable response than this kind of response that hasn't been so effective. That kind of certitude is like spreading and developing your practice. And these will give you this beautiful sign of the mentioned qualities. The hair on the body grow in upwards direction. So that's why also when we visualize deities, there's all the hairs are standing up. There's all the deities are, and not all deities are hairy, but some wrathful deities, or like hair Vajra or Vajrayoginis or Vajrakelaya, all the hairs are standing up. The symbol of that, all the qualities are increasing or flourishing. So it's it's a visual dharma. What they do, they mean. What they do, they mean. Even the wrathful deities don't show all the 32 marks, but even some, like the hair standing on end is upraised, is a symbol of ever increasing qualities. They say why the hair is yellow and upraised, because they're ever improving qualities. So meaning, if we have made a vow and we try to build the qualities of that up, so that's what it is. Through your zest, means through your diligence for knowledge, the arts, and so forth, through imparting them, meaning teaching them to others, you will have the calves of an antelope, sharp mind, and great wisdom. So that's talking about his calves around, full and beautiful, like that of Enaya deer. Enaya deer is a kind of antelope, type of a antelope, I think. Maybe particular type. I'm not very good at many things, including this one. So I need to go and educate myself. What's Enaya? Enaya, I think Sanskrit word. Enaya is Sanskrit. It's kind of gazelle or something. I read somewhere else as a gazelle. In one of the translations, they put gazelle. So it's talking of, those animals are beautiful, isn't it? When you look at those animals, they got their own beautiful. So some of this beauty is an animal. So it means what they come from? This come from your diligence. If you are doing something like knowledge or arts or language, or you are learning them and teaching them with great purpose and great care and great discipline, not so kind of monetary kind of profit purposes, just for the love of the knowledge, love of not only what you know, but love of learning to teach them to others. And any care that you're given to the acquisition of knowledge, he says knowledge is very powerful, particularly if you use it for higher purposes, for brotherhood and sisterhood, for benefiting others, not for controlling knowledge for one's own benefit and seeing one has some kind of pattern that one should control, copyright on the knowledge. Not that kind of knowledge grasping, but knowledge that is actually taught and propagated for the benefit of others. Anything you know, you should teach others. You shouldn't just say, I know this. You may benefit from it and then learn to pass that to others. He says, imparting them well, imparting the knowledge to the others, and because people remember what they learned from whom, and they have things they have learned, they'll cherish that. People who have a lot of knowledges, they're really respectable, because they got a lot of body of knowledge, and anybody from whom he or she learned these things, they actually, every time I go to my village, I always want to say hello to my school teacher. Even though he didn't teach me more than year 7, it's still my teacher, still my teacher, It's really, 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 we have this culture, We always call Genla, he's always my Genla. That kind of tradition is very important, because you honor what you learned. Very little, but you learn from that person, and that will benefit you, and you also pass that to others with your zest and knowledge. So zest for knowledge, you have to have enthusiasm for the knowledge, not just for me, or this week, or this term, not that kind of knowledge. Saying it will benefit others. If I learn this, even though I'm not so much utilizer of such knowledge, but if I pass this in good form as I got it, it will benefit others. That kind of holistic purpose of acquisition of knowledge. not just for the sake of saying what I got out of this type of thing. It will have a lot more benefit that will stream, I would say, ripple to many other people. We have to have such kind of fortitude to see the purpose of our knowledge. That's why we say the prayers at the very beginning. By virtue of listening to this teaching, may all beings attain Buddhahood. You see? So we're not listening to the teachings just for the evening, just for this week, or not even for this life. Definitely not. Definitely, these Buddhist teachings are not for that evening, not for the day, not for the very temporal purposes. Definitely, for the benefit of liberating all beings who are lost in sorrow and the cause of sorrow, they themselves are ignorant of knowing. So may my little acquisition of this knowledge have some ripple effect, not only to me and like-minded, but this also benefit others. With such purpose of listening and imparting knowledge, then it will have a really beautiful benefit, like the beautiful gazelle. You always look at everybody watch those animals. They come happy. I say, I saw a gazelle. Why is these people going to see the animal come home happy? They're so beautiful. So it doesn't take anything from anybody. They just want to eat grass, and that's all they want to do. And you can see how tall they are, how beautiful their hairs are. They never use a comb. They never use shampoo. They're still beautiful, bright. This is beautiful, really. You look at it, amazing. It's made in some amazing places. Yes, of course. Everything has causes. So that's why we have to be careful in knowing this too will turn into something. So what good care I can give in this, and will have a great many benefit. If others seek your wealth and possessions, through the discipline of immediate giving, you will have broad arms and a pleasant appearance, and will become a leader of the world. So this is talking about beautiful body, beautiful appearance. It's talking about his arms are long and beautiful, extended. They can cover his kneecaps, even without bending his body. So Buddha's hands are very long. So what it really means is that when somebody wants something that is yours, you just immediately give it, not oohing and ahming and not delaying and not straight away give it. They say give while the soup is hot. So meaning give something when somebody really wants it. It's a magic. You wouldn't believe the magic that thing that you gave does when somebody wants it. And you wouldn't have that much happiness even if you kept 10 years. The magic of joy of giving is talking. Timely giving, yeah? Timely giving. Learn to practice giving. Particularly if other people seek it, People seek it. Through your discipline, immediate giving, you have an immediate impulse to give. If somebody you think that will make them happy, they need you more than you straight away. People are happy because there's a lot of kindness there, and people are not happy because they are poor. Happy because they have so much. If they'll be happy if they practice more kindness. And how do you practice kindness? Either say something kind, generous, or do something physically generous, very respectful, courteous, or give something or do something for each other. That is TLC. That is real Dharma. The real Dharma isn't rubbing statues or making statues even, if you don't know what actually have to do on top of that. So building statues is good, but what else we have to do that is concordant with that, And where there is, if somebody gives you straight away something, they themselves got it. It promotes so much hope and brotherhood and personal. And say, oh, he gave me this. It lives a powerful hope of humanity, and generous. The world is generous. That's what he thinks, because he has exposed to be generous people. So generosity is very powerful, because it completely can take the sorrow or the chill of the world that people actually feel cold. They feel not friendly to the world, because they haven't seen people who've been kind to them. If somebody kind to somebody, straight away change their perception of the world, and themselves for that matter. Oh, somebody do care about me. Yes, so generosity. They say generosity is magic, because it's joy of happiness comes more that doesn't come from keeping. Not only in the person who gives, but also recipient as well. Recipient just found an amazing friend. They never knew it's going to come. And then that third person who witnesses that becomes so much delighted and inspired by witnessing somebody else's kindness. See, that's what we're talking about. It's not so much of a self-gratification. We're talking about the actual dharma. Actual doing is the dharma, not just reading, not just reciting. Like the medicine is, you have to take the medicine, not just read the prescription. So if a person does that to someone in your everyday life, I'm sure we are a recipient of that quite a lot of time. Many of the things we have is somebody just straight away gave it to us. Somebody just straight away gave it to us. And just our mother decided to have us. She said, oh, who's this inside me? Oh, she could have decided not to give her birth. You see what I mean? Amazing. I mean, quite a lot of there are people are not really willing to be mother. They deliberately take pills or not have any baby. And even they accidentally have found a baby, they want to finish it off. See, we were given. We are a gift. And once she decided to give, it wasn't just giving a cup from here, this and no. She had to have us in the body growing week by week, bigger and bigger, heavier and heavier, plus many complications later on. Having a child for a mother is no ordinary giving, Kindness of our mother, we should really revisit. It will heal your ego and karma. When you remember the kindness of other people who gave their form, their body was straight, their body was slim, healthy, they were almost like reaching very great heights of their career, but as soon as baby arrived, they completely sacrificed their form, sacrificed their beautiful clothing, sacrificed their job, sacrificed their career. We are all recipients of that. So therefore we must remember this. It's not that we should practice generosity, but we got to remember how generous people have been to us. Giving life is the biggest gift. If not anything else after the birth. Anything after the birth, she didn't even see us once. Still, it's a gift of life. How could we possibly see that as non-gift? So one thing is us practicing generosity. Teaching says give, give, give. It's a bit of a pressure really to give. But wait until you remember that you are already given. Your whole life is a gift. So that we are not asked to do something that you haven't the recipient of. Everything you have, your education, your knowledge, your experience, your status, all given to you. Otherwise, we could have easily been expelled. We could have easily be deleted anytime. So, we are all result of unconditional, immediate giving by our mother, by our father, by our loved ones, and therefore, we too must emulate at least little bit each time. And so, therefore, do not keep things that you have. If you know somebody wants it, try to learn to practice the magic of giving. Of course, small by small. There's not a lot of danger that we're giving the most difficult one first. Even in the training, they said first give the easy one, give just water or pen or ink or and they said give small things. They say if you can't even do that, at least give by right hand to the left hand and things like that. So slowly you learn to give up even everything, Yeah, that's exactly like Buddha renounced everything. For him, it wasn't about him. It's about what benefit does his being born in this world has to offer if he can't give up these things. His will be a hindrance for his usefulness if he become attached to his royalty and power and prestige and wealth. He knew that. He was wise enough not to be trapped in that, and quickly, and before too late, he just left. It was his gift. It wasn't that wealth that he left we are really enjoying. Other than the wealth that he left didn't even enjoy it by anybody. His leaving made him to find this amazing panacea, Dharma. So like that, we too, through whatever little effort we make, you see, it's the changing of the things. One object going from one hand to another is just a little test, really. But main thing is the Dharma. For the sake of Dharma, in the spirit of Dharma, how can we promote these wholesome, meritorious activities to promote the purpose of our existence? So that's that. Through reconciling well friends who have become divided, you'll become the best of those whose glorious secret organ retracts inside. So that's an interesting combination. It's mainly talking about that your practice of learning to be a mediator, where these people are divided, fighting, conflicting, arguing over things, that you, instead of adding to the conflict by taking sides, by reconciling them, by giving something, your time or your energy, your knowledge, so on, so that they, instead of becoming warring parties, you actually are bringing them together through your true bodhisattvic kind of way to mediate divided ones, instead of widening their misunderstanding by speaking against these on their back, which quite a lot of people do, is they have none their own. But instead, if there is warring groups, you try to bring them together through, if not, never try to widen the gap. By doing this, you will bring the whole divided world together and try to mediate, try to dispel the confusion and misunderstanding. Actually, it's more misunderstanding. Nobody's bad independently to them or like vice versa. They're just misunderstanding. Now, who needs to add to the misunderstanding? If anybody has a role to play, they should mediate. Buddha himself was very much involved in mediation during his time, not just giving teaching. He actually went between two warring parties that were fighting in a place called Rajgura, where there's a big stupa there. It's called stupa of reconciliation. Each of the Buddhas, those stupas, one is to do with his birth, other is his enlightenment, like Mahabodhi, other is where he passed away, one is to do with his reconciliation job. He did a lot of reconciling work between the Vanga and those Magadha kingdom fighting. He went and actually reconciled. He built a stupa as a sign of them promising not to wage war against each other but live in peace. So we're talking about that, the importance of. We're not talking about between nations. It could be just two siblings in your family, or two people in your workplace, or neighbors, or whatever. You just try to do something humanely possible to give a very good surprise to yourself and others. What a completely different relieving thing that we can do. And if you are in your best self to do that, and then, what it means is that there will be no lot of sort of offshoot of sufferings or conflict, because otherwise conflict spread like Syria conflict. It's just spreading everywhere like a cancer. it should be stopped very quickly beforehand. If someone with reasonable power could come and to reconcile, not taking side, truly for the sake of bringing peace between the two would be good. But they have all hidden agenda when they go in there, so that they can sell their oil, they can put their pipeline under there. So the purpose of going there was really completely dirtied by hidden agendas. That's why no matter what resources they put in there to go, instead of reducing the conflict, it is spreading. So most sentient beings are completely deluded. They are not fit to help anybody. Their help is often harm. So therefore here we're talking about the enlightened one who is able to reconcile divided communities should help then beings. So like an elephant and a stallion, his genitals, private parts, are drawn up within the sheath. This is talking about the retracted nature of the private part. I remember my teacher, his name is Rinpoche, he has great difficulty to urinate because he doesn't know where his thing is. He just doesn't know where the thing disappeared. he feels like going to the toilet, but he doesn't know. Yeah, there's some practitioners are like that, They don't have anything like that as a sign of withdrawal, I suppose, from withdrawal from conflict, but completely to making peace, so to speak. It's just a symbol of it. Through giving good houses and shelters and nice, comfortable carpets, your color will be very soft, like refined stainless gold. This is talking about skin. His skin is a color of gold, clear and radiant, and has a beautiful shine. This is talking about the bright, lustrous, radiant form of the body. I think it's quite a lot of people who are amazing good practitioners. They have the amazing presence. That's why Tibetan use the word to His Holiness, presence. We call kundun. Kundun, we call His Holiness, which the one movie is made. It means your presence, holy presence, so majestic, so filled with a lot of energy, which completely draws everybody's goodness. And that kind of presence we're talking about, not necessarily golden color, but it's something very radiant, something very inspiring. And that kind of presence also is merit, comes from merit of giving things. If you good shelter, good bed, comfortable bed, and nice blanket, and remember, when you're cold, you don't want anything but a warm blanket. The merit of giving a warm blanket is amazing to the cold person. So sometimes you go because I go to stay almost 1 week every week. I go and sleep different beds. I different in this Queensland and Magnetic Island, and the coast, Osiba, or Virupa, or. Sometimes the bed is a bit thin, But before you go to sleep, they say, "Do you want a blanket?" I said, "Thank you." Yes, yeah. It's difficult to sleep cold, yeah. So even just mindfulness to give something warm when somebody's cold, whether it's clothes or the door or heater or whatever. This kind of generosity is small things, but still very important. Still very important. So that corresponds with a beautiful body. These are all mainly through generosity. Through giving the highest powers, meaning positions, giving somebody power. They call empowering others. They call empowering women, for instance, letting women hold positions that they were once not given for whatever reasons. Of course, when the society evolves and grow up themselves, they actually, give this. So we have this kind of happening, empowering women. The women's are allowed to become geishas and things like that. It's encouraging. There's only two genders, and if one control, it's awful. So empowering each other, giving them the highest powers, and following the teacher properly. These are two things. One is just giving power and and status to others, as well as following a teacher properly, you will be adorned with each and every hair by a spiraling hair between the eyebrows. This is talking about this one here. We call urnas. The Buddha has this special brow in the between the eyebrows, I would say. Coiled hair, it says here. Each hair, his body is fine, smooth, singular, curved to the right, and placed between his eyebrows is adorned with a coiled hair that is supple, smooth, and white, and which by nature has a length of 1 and 3 cubits. Coiled clockwise, its size is like a kurura fruit and resembles a protrusion of silver. They say if you pull it, it comes out very long. When you let it go, it just goes straight back. So, the Indians do that. Indians always do this tika, and they actually draw it deliberately. Some of them are very carefully done. Others are just red dot. The symbol is really a spiritual eye, I suppose. It's more, they call it third eye, but the spiritual eye, because we all have an eye that's a wisdom eye that is not tainted by the normal waxed eyes of the fleshy eye, but looking from the wisdom eye, pure, kind way of looking at things, a totally different one. So this kind of feature of the Buddha's body comes from empowering other people, encouraging other people to hold positions that they may have long wished or have been aiming for. Giving them that kind of practice inspires people. In some regards, the breaking traditions, where someone actually holds the positions until they die, but even though they're decrepit and they can't do it very well, they should have given it to the prince fairly early, It would be good, like his son Sakya Tenzin did, He traditionally, until he passed away, his successor will have to wait, whoever that it is, either his son or somebody else. But he deliberately broke the tradition. He gave his all the would-be. There are 4 or 5 of them waiting and to be trained, and you all get a chance. Let me do this. That kind of, see, it's all mentioned here. To hold the power as if you are the only one and you don't want to give even to your son is ridiculous, isn't it? Ridiculous. Whoever that it is, particularly the son or whoever is well and truly qualified, it is good to do that. It inspires other people, and also gives them an opportunity to exercise what they thought they knew or they were learning for. And this kind of empowering, I suppose, in many ways, whole Western democracy is based on the idea that the president or prime minister doesn't serve more than 1 or 2 terms. So it gives others opportunity. It's based on some kind of equal opportunity base. But here, of course, oneself deliberately giving to others. It's a very good tradition. Now, those are all to do with giving. Now, next is through speech that is pleasant and pleasing, and by acting upon good speech of others, you will have curving shoulders and a lion-like upper body. So it's talking about the upper body. The torso is expansive like a lion, and so there's talking about the amazing shoulder, amazing shoulder, not built by taking some drugs, but not talking about body built by taking things, but we're talking about people who are well built. What we're really talking about is that you, through kind speech, where you speak to somebody, where you spoke, it just completely turned things around for the benefit of the one you're talking to or benefit of others who are not there. You just did a lot of peace work. You did a real peace work, the way you talked about it, and also quoting others' good speech, not quoting others' bad speech. That's completely unnecessary. It's one speech, one sound is bad enough, toxic. It doesn't need to replay it. If someone said good things, always quote that, Quote that. People have the habit of quoting what are the negative ones. Quote the good things. elegant sayings, they call it, proverbs that are really worthy of listening to and have everybody can draw some knowledge from. So, speaking kind words, let's lift the spirit of everybody up. Whether a shoulder or not, I don't know. Whether it gives you a new shoulder or not, I don't know in that light. But definitely people feel good. They don't have this heavy thing that's weighing us down. When somebody starts to speak kindly, everybody feels sigh. The energy of the tense just sort of lifts up by someone speaking positively and kindly and respectfully. Completely changes the whole energy. Amazing. Wow. To the nursing and curing the sick. Now this is merit. This is all about humanity, really. Doing the real humane work, giving, kindly, respecting, and looking after the sick, reconciling the warring parties, all these things. The area between your shoulders will be broad. You live like in a natural state, and all tests will be the best. And that was covered, wasn't it? 2 shoulders, yeah. Top of 2 shoulders around like golden vases. Top of the 2 shoulders around like golden vases. It's talking about caring and nursing the sick very kindly, very willingly, very gently, very, very, very. Merely caring and feeding just as a chore is not good enough. Not just putting the tray of food and there just go past as if come back only to collect it and then showing sort of wariness when they haven't finished. That's not serving. So we're talking about caring for nursing the sick. If people really do good work, this kind of nursing jobs are good karma jobs. It's very good karma, paid good karma. I don't know if good karma can be paid or not. It's probably better if they're not paid, but volunteers would be good. Actually, this paying system is just otherwise it's all really volunteer. Should be system. That's just the system thinks I paid for my job. But actually we're all paid around all the time. Indirectly all the time paid. So we should do everything willingly with that. Through initiating activities, this is talking about doing activities, project, concordant with the practices, meaning doing things, projects that are really according to teaching. Your crown protrusion will stand out well, and your body will be symmetrical like a banana tree. Banana tree. That's through speaking true and soft words over a long time. The Lord of humanity. Your tongue will be long, and your voice that of Brahma is talking about the merit of your right speech. So your right speech is talking your 2 palms around are full without any indentation. Your tongues has the quality that whatever taste experience become most delicious. So it's talking basically being able to speak in kind words, whether your tongue is long or not, like the dog. There's a dog's. The length of dog tongue is one of the sign of 32 signs. Even some animals got one of the signs. We're talking about the gazelle, talking about the dog. Our share of the sign is this one. They say this is the lotus. They say this is lotus or something. I haven't seen the description yet. Through speaking true words, always and continually, you will have cheeks like a lion, be glorious and hard to overcome. This talking about body, talking about your cheeks, cheeks. So I wouldn't go through the list, but that list is there for you to look through. Let me go through the rest. Through showing great respect, serving others, doing what is fitting, your teeth will be very white, shiny, and even. So it's talking about respecting others, doing whatever is necessary they like you to do, exactly as they're fitting to their liking. Making things that are cause of their happiness will bless you to have good teeth. It's talking, of course, Buddha's teeth are not only white and shiny and even, but also 40 of them. We only have 36, so we are No, we have 4 teeth less than a Buddha. I don't think we have much room there. So Buddha's mouth must be pretty big, huh? Like a lion, yeah. I think that it must go all the way back here. Through viewing beings with love, by looking at people with love, without desire, hatred, and delusion, meaning looking with love and kindness and concern is quite different from looking with ordinary desires or anger or doubt or suspicion and condescension. But if one looks with great love and kindness, your eyes will be bright and blue, with eyelashes like a bull. So, thus in brief. So, all the 32 are pretty much covered. Thus in brief, know well these 32 signs of a great line of beings, together with their causes. Meaning that what Nagarjuna is saying, that is, of course, I have introduced you the 32 marks, what they are, and so on, but mainly be familiar with their causes. You know, these are effects, of course, effects. The Buddha only has them. But more importantly is what by doing this, what I would say, immediate benefit there are. If you spoke kindly to somebody, if you serve somebody nicely, you don't have to wait for 20 million years to get that 40 teeth. You know, immediately you will see the benefit. You will make the day for the person. You can make their day by speaking kindly, serving nicely, and helping some people who are in really warring parties, reconcile with them and spend a little bit of time doing that. That is the most meritorious things. So what you're seeing is all the what His Holiness Dalai Lama fittingly calls these secular ethics. These are not religious practices. These are secularly concordant and viable and universally relevant and respected and widely appreciated human conduct, best humane behaviors, really. So that's why these are amazing. These are just what you call, transcend culture, transcend religious beliefs. Everybody will love you if you reconcile their conflict, love you if you speak kindly. You don't have to be Buddhist to do to a Buddhist. You don't have to do that to a Christian. Even people who not believe anything will appreciate these things, and merit would be merit of making them happy by you displaying these things, doing this will be immediately there, Even animals will show, and even animals will straight away will feel comforted if you instead of hurling rocks at them or putting traps at them and try to hunt them, if you try to feed them or speak kindly, and even animals will find hope and feel not threatened by others. Most others are threateners. Anything that moves is always threatening them, poor thing. If they found somebody who's not after them, but for them, wonderful it will be. They can live and coexist peacefully without running. You can only hear animals always running, not because they like to run as they race in town. No. They're running for life because majority are after their skin, after their horns, after their bones, after their meat, after their furs. So that's the very reason. Who is there who will actually give the exact opposite? They're not hunting, going after their hairs or horns or anything, but for their happiness. A natural reserve where they are protected and let them live in peace. That would be. These are humane behaviors. Buddha did not achieve enlightenment through doing religious things. Only by him becoming enlightened, people doing religious things in front of him. So, he also recommended them. He also spoke virtues of them because people otherwise don't know where to start. So it become too religious, I suppose. People become too religious in front of statues, but aren't doing these to actual human beings. So that's the problem. That's what His Holiness Dalai Lama says. Don't be just cultural Buddhist. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be the cultural, but keep those culture, but know why you do what you do. And then try to have a informed practice. that we do this because of that, not because we are trying to become totally culturally materialistic. Become culturally materialistic minus the spiritual understanding of it, becomes just culture Buddhist, which are plentiful. Even Buddhist world have got a lot of beautiful Buddhist meritorious practices there, but still most of them are still cultural form of expression of it. Once they all learn texts like this and get the teachings, understand what it really is pointing, not just saying what the 32 are, but what are the cause of the 32? And what are the kind of relevant benefits of doing those causes in your everyday life, in society, and so on? Then we actually are getting the teachings. Teaching point us to something. Pointer is not what we're looking at, where it's pointed to, we need to look. Looks like we are reading the 32 marks of the Buddha tonight, but actually it is pointing us something else. When we get that, then it's not just academic. What are the 32 signs of the Buddha? He lists them. What are the implied things we have to do? What are the teachings from this? So these 32 marks are there, and therefore then our author Nagarjuna concludes, they say, the 80 beautiful features arise from concordant cause of love. He just briefly says, all the other 80 minor marks also cause from love, comes from doing loving things, by doing the love. Making your loving activities, loving speeches, loving thoughts, loving manners, loving courtesies, whatever you do, all these things, fearing this text would be too long, I will not, O king, explain them. He says, I will not go into the 80 ones, but they're all expression of love. Expression of love. All universal emperors are regarded as having these. He says, you are born, you're a king. He said, you must have some of these features in you. He's giving the encouragement, because to be king is quite a meritorious thing, if you know how to use it, put good purposes. If not, why, some would go wasted, But their purity, beauty, and luster cannot match even that of the Buddha, So no matter what majesty and beauty and prestige the king or powerful rulers have, they are only king or prime minister for their term. After that, they're nobody. But Buddha is Buddha always. So the auspicious signs, there's 32 we talked, and beautiful features of a universal emperor are said to arise from the single cause of faith in the king of the subduers. So if we develop faith in the Buddha, if we believe in the Buddha, remember some people say, I believe in the Buddha. It's so powerful. Oh gosh, so hard to believe. Some people believe in the Buddha and that's it. They have nothing, no training. That's kind of great merit. And not only they believe in the Buddha, but they actually honor that. And therefore they believe the teachings because they taught by the Buddha. And if they can, doesn't mean they can't ask questions, doesn't mean they shouldn't reason, but still they don't exhaust their intellectual mind. But if they can, they try to, but still totality is they believe the teaching. They totally accept the teachings to their heart, So that's very important. He says, even the beauty of the amazing quality of a universal monarch come from one single vow or devotion to Buddha is more important. But such virtue accumulated at one point for 100 times 10 million eons cannot produce even one of the hair paws of the Buddha. So it's not making comparison with all the other worldly things people do, Buddha. This is not just to make a daunt our mind, but rather to inspire. Wow factor. So we have good reason to inspire our heart and broaden our heart. Just as the brilliance of the suns is slightly like that of fireflies, so the signs of Buddha are slightly like those of a universal emperor. So that concludes the interwoven chapter, which is the second chapter. So the verse number 200 we finished there tonight. So it's as I said, that these 32 lists are there for you, but most importantly what are the implied causes that we may consciously employ in our everyday to-day mindfulness way of being, in situations, wherever, if we try to remember some of the specifics, physical, verbal, mental attitude and behaviors that are courteous, that are respectful, that are humble, that are caring, that are patient. If we try to do those things, then all these 32 marks make whoever understand them, they not only honor them, but they also honor themselves by. Call a lot of practitioners who remember these and then try to restrain their mind from wrongdoings, adopt the wholesome doings they do. Then some of them die. When they die, then they leave relics. So they don't, their whole body doesn't become relics, but they actually leave certain parts of body, which is remains of the body, relics, because their body becomes sharira, become like a symbol of marks of enlightened one. So this is where we're going to conclude here. Thank you. We're going to do the dedication of merits. After the teaching, we always send out good thoughts and prayers. May this teaching teach us not only on the level that we thought then, but deeper than that, and take us very far and benefit enormously many other beings. So with this, we do the dedication of merit on page 7, after the Heart Sutra. Through the blessings of Manjushri, whenever one wishes to study or write, may I be able to accomplish all without any obstacles. The torch of great brilliance of your youthful appearance, dispel the darkness 3 rounds. May Manjushri grace auspicious blessings. Just as courageous Manjushri knew all things, Samandabhadra did likewise. Emulating all of the examples, I should probably dedicate all of these merits. Then to page 11. This is a bit of... By the merit of this, may I attain the state of omniscience, defeat the evil enemies of defilements. May I liberate all sentient beings from the oceans, the turbulent waves of earth, sickness, and death. By listening to the excellent and precious Mahayana teaching, whatever boundless merit I have acquired, may all sentient beings become precious and stainless vessels to retain the excellent and precious Mahayana teachings. May the supreme and precious bodhicitta take birth where it had not done so. Where it has been born, may it increase abundantly without degeneration.